What up, it's your boy Josh, also known as Claire Saffitz, also known as Brad Leone, also known as Chris Morocco. And it's that time again to watch me give birth to a brand new baby snack. We asked you which two snacks you'd want to see smashed, and you said Pop-Tarts, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Will this new snack be a smash? Find out, because this is Snack Smash. So we're starting the Flamin' Hot Cheeto Pop-Tarts with the copycat Flamin' Hot seasoning, which is my pride and joy. Like the way a grandma might pass down her 7-Up pound cake recipe is the way that I'm gonna pass this recipe on to my 3 sons, Bort, Japheth, and Balthamos. Obviously you have the spice. That's probably just coming from a ton of cayenne. Add in a tablespoon, another tablespoon, and then there's actually a lot of savory elements in the Flamin' Hot Cheeto seasoning. So that's gonna be onion, garlic, so many fumes, and white pepper. That tends to be a trifecta in a lot of snack foods. And then we have our red powdered food dye. I eat way too much food dye on this show. Like, I'm just gonna die and they're gonna cut open my body and just like a rainbow river is gonna flood out of me and it's gonna be beautiful. There's going to be a lot of salt. Another thing makes Flamin' Hot Cheetos so addictive, MSG. This is like the lifeblood of the entire chip industry. About 1.5 tablespoons in there. And then another thing that you don't necessarily think about is the citric acid involved in Flamin' Hot Cheetos. They're actually like really quite sour. It almost gives you like a sort of lime flavor. About 1/2 tablespoon, 1.5 teaspoons. People just think of Flamin' Hot Cheetos as hot, but there actually is a fair amount of cheese flavor in there that just really gets dominated by spice. So that means we're gonna do a lot of this dehydrated cheddar, and it's actually gonna add color to it too. And then for an additional dairy kick, we're gonna do buttermilk powder. I'll abbreviate that as buttermilk. This probably isn't in Flamin' Hot Cheetos. This is straight up ghost chili powder. So just put a little bit of ghost chili in there. Those are giant clumps that went in. Did you see that? And then we're gonna pop this right into our spice grinder. Uh-oh, it's overflowing. Uh-oh, I'm breathing in the dust. Uh-oh. I've learned now, I'm not gonna breathe in the fumes and then I'm not gonna cough all over the food. I'm gonna open it and then immediately blow it out. And that's how it's done. Gotta suck on another Cheeto. That's hot. That's hot though, I like that. That's good.
Okay, let's go.
So you're gonna find in the filling of a strawberry Pop-Tart, they're using all dried fruits. We could use fresh fruit, but like we're not trying to make this fancy. We're trying to make this exactly how Pop-Tart would do it. Pop-Tart filling is this like stodgy, vaguely fruit reminiscent paste that has almost nothing to do with real fruit. And so they use dried strawberries, some pears in there. Shout out to all the pears, shout out to Rick Ross. God, I hope anyone gets that reference. And then there's obviously just going to be a ton of corn syrup because we're working with packaged goods here. Because corn syrup makes the world go round. Shout out to corn farmer subsidies. They're ruining America. And then more sugar. And then also just to kind of hit a little bit more of that fruit flavor, we're gonna put some citric acid in there because you're gonna get less acid, more sugars when you dry the fruit out. I have this thing in my pocket. This is a very concentrated bottle of strawberry extract that has actually been leaking for the last like 3 months, and it's all over all my clothes now. I'm gonna get some Flamin' Hot Cheeto dust in there, and then just walk away. Just walk away for a couple seconds. That way it can't hurt you. Spices and sugar don't typically go together because if you've seen the movie Sugar and Spice, it'll just end up with cheerleaders robbing a bank. So we're gonna go ahead and take this filling and we're just gonna crush some of that up, pop it in there. If it's not stodgy enough, we'll just add some more Cheetos and blend it up. Get more into the air. Turn this on. It's gonna scorch my hand. Okay. Yeah, this is real nice and pasty. You can see it's like holding its shape at the end. That is exactly what we want. There's that huge punch of artificial extract that like brings you away from Cheeto and straight into Pop-Tart. That's rad. All right, so now we have to make our Pop-Tart. I got pepper in my eye. Now it's time to make the Pop-Tart dough. This part is really easy because I'm basically trying to make the crappiest pie dough possible because that's what Pop-Tarts uses. So here's a bunch of the cheapest all-purpose flour. It might just be cut with like wood. Since Pop-Tart dough is so dense, I'm not gonna use butter. I'm just gonna use straight up shortening. We're gonna put a bunch of Crisco. We're going for, I don't know, this much. We'll get some water in there. And then corn syrup. Corn syrup is just in literally everything. If you ever have any doubts on how to make a copycat recipe, pour a bunch of corn syrup into it. Then the last part is making it just a super deep, real messed up, poisonous looking shade of red. Then take a nice deep breath. You can't be afraid of the Flamin' Hot seasoning. Flamin' Hot seasoning gotta be afraid of you. And then soy lecithin. Lecithin is the stabilizer that's actually going to essentially put little micro air bubbles in between the proteins and the fat. One big power cough gets all the pepper out of your throat. I think this is about what I'm looking for, actually. Gotta wrap it up, plastic wrap. Okay, and then this just has to rest in the fridge for about half an hour. Sorry for interrupting Josh, but I have an important announcement regarding Josh. From me, Josh. If you're enjoying this show, you should subscribe to the Mythical YouTube channel. If enough people subscribe, I'll get to make even more shows just like this one. And while you're here, go ahead and click the bell for notifications. Now, back to you, Josh. To me, the tart part of the Pop-Tart is overrated. I'm a pop man myself. It really just pops you right in the mouth. So now we have to go ahead and make our frosting. Oh no, I guess the pop refers to the toaster. Popping out of the toaster. Most frosting, like a buttercream, would just melt in the toaster, but this, the protein in the egg whites, and a little bit of supplemental cornstarch we're gonna add, I use should very liberally, get it to toast in the toaster. I always try and pop it out of the toaster and then grab it, but sometimes I burn myself. Almost every time I burn myself. Now you're just gonna go ahead and whip this on high until the egg whites get a little bit frothy, then we're gonna start gradually adding in our confectioner sugar. Add in about a cup. Spin it on medium. Nah, spin it on high. Life's too short to go on medium. We're gonna add a fair amount of Flamin' Hot Cheeto dust that has now just poisoned the entire crew. Power cough. And just pour that in there. You want just enough to give it a nice rosy hue. And then put a little bit of cornstarch in there because that should help it solidify when it's toasting. So the box of Pop-Tarts tells you to never leave a toaster or microwave unattended because it could start a fire. I think you should never leave a food processor unattended because it might start conspiring with foreign governments against you. All right, this is looking nice against all odds. Take this out, scrape down the sides, make it nice and smooth. Are you kidding me? The freaking paddle just falls off? What is happening? Great. Put that there. Sprinkles, the best way I know how to make them is just by making a royal icing, piping it into very thin strips. Then we're gonna mix in a lot more of that Flamin' Hot dust because we want to see a nice color change. And I have to mix it. I'm sorry. This is a prison of my own design. You're not having a breakdown. They're all having a breakdown. And you're just gonna start piping out the sprinkles in thin strips. You cook it till it's done, and then you have sprinkles. You know, Pop-Tart was originally called a fruit scone, and a Flamin' Hot Cheeto was originally called spicy, pointy, red thing that is often misshapen and will send children to the hospital. It wasn't a catchy name, but it was accurate. Wow, these sprinkles look great. They're out of the oven and nothing is wrong with them at all. They're gonna be chopped into really small bits, because if you think about a Pop-Tart, they're not even sprinkles, they're just like little nubs. You're just gonna chop these as fine as possible. Now we're gonna make the actual Pop-Tarts. So I'm using legitimate Pop-Tarts when I roll out the dough to kind of check for size, so I want it to be exactly like this. And I'm just gonna pinch off a solid nub of this dough. We're just gonna roll it out as thin as possible. Yeah, we got a nice little runway of dough. So I'm gonna take a Pop-Tart, just for size, cut out a nice little rectangle for yourself. All right, so now we have to take our filling, so we're gonna spread that. Great, and then I'm gonna attempt to lift this piece of dough onto that piece of dough. Okay, I can work with this. Lil Xan, if you're out there, you have nothing but my sympathy, because I also can't stop eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I've just never been put in the hospital for it. All right, they got holes in them. You put holes in the top layer of the dough so there's no steam that forms, so it remains incredibly flat. So it looks like it's 4 across, 5 up. That's 3, 4. I count things when I'm panicked. 1, 2, 3. That was so rough that I forgot how to count. You just poke holes in it. Yeah, bake it, cook it. Throw it in the oven until it looks like a Pop-Tart. It should just be a spicy, doughy piece of deliciousness that you can throw right in a toaster. Find out. Snack Smash! Snack Smash. Snack Smash. Against all odds, it was a struggle, but we struggled our way through them, and they're here and they look exactly like Pop-Tarts, so I'm very happy. and pipe on a nice border here. Spread this out, try and set the border. Just kind of give it a... So you take some sprinkles, got a couple of those on there. Look at that! We got ourselves a Flamin' Hot Pop-Tart. Like they say, once you crunch, the munch don't crunch. Once you crunch. Now we just have to see if it actually tastes good, which is a whole nother journey, which is why we have a couple Mythical crew members coming in to actually give the final determination. But what's a box of Pop-Tarts without the box? Let's see the box of the thing, which is the Pop-Tarts, Flamin' Hot. Kevin and Matt, thank you for joining me. You'll see that there is one knife and 3 people. What's gonna happen? Find out on Snack Smash.
I've seen Dark Knight.
All right, so if you guys wanna open these.
Wow.
Right?
Wow,
They
that's
look
actually
like
impressive.
Pop-Tarts. So we're gonna save one to try and toast. I wanna look at how this compares to a normal Pop-Tart. All right, so if you look at these, they're roughly the same size. I wanna cut them in half and look at the width, because that's what really matters.
That's impressive.
That's pretty
Wow, that's
close.
really good. That's a Pop-Tart.
I legit am impressed.
But I'll try and toast one, because I want to see if it'll actually work, because I really tried to make the icing work in a toaster. But in the meantime, dig into these.
This looks like a real deal
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Right off the bat,
Wow, that's a Pop-Tart.
it tastes like a Pop-Tart.
You made a Pop-Tart in your kitchen. No spice. There's
No,
the spice.
there's the spice.
Comes in late.
It's a
Wow,
creeper.
man.
But it is quintessentially Pop-Tart, and how almost like just kind of like tender and melt in your mouth it is. It's not flaky, it's not light. And then the icing, it has that kind of like signature crunch to it.
This is really good. Can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
Can I see your hands?
Why? What are you looking
I want to see if you have open sores on your hands. He has open sores all over his hands.
Yeah, what are these little sprinkles made out
So
of?
those are Flamin' Hot sprinkles. We took the same thing as the icing and then added a ton more Flamin' Hot seasoning to them. So it's gonna be like little concentrated bites of Flamin' Hot.
I don't always compliment you, but this is worthy of a Josh compliment. Man, you even put the holes in it.
Yeah, everything about it is quintessentially Pop-Tart. And like, you get all the Flamin' Hot Cheeto-ness. It's not just a spicy Pop-Tart, but it's Flamin' Hot Cheeto, because you're getting the cheddar, you're getting the onion, you're getting the garlic. You can literally smell it in the back of your palate. But it's with all this fruit, and you're not super mad about it.
How do you smell in the back of your palate?
And it almost toasted. Wow, we almost got it.
All right, so that part didn't really hold it.
Take back that Josh compliment?
So would you guys say that these snacks essentially, would you guys say that the snacks have smashed successfully?
I think what you're trying to say is, did these snacks smash?
Yes.
They smashed.
Boom. Kevin and Matt, thank you so much for putting your bowels on the line to be a part of this taste test. You are the real heroes here.
My stomach hurts already.
And thank you for watching. If you want to watch even more content like this, subscribe to the Mythical YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments what snacks you want to see smashed next time. See you later. I've never OD'd on any food, but I did eat so many firecracker shrimp at a Hokkaido seafood buffet that I ended up having violent diarrhea in a bathroom stall, and then I actually threw up into my pants that were around my ankles at the same time, and then I just had to wipe everything down with the paper towel, and then I kind of just pulled up my pants and scuttled out and had to call my friends to pay the bill for me because I had a lot to take care of. Is that the answer you wanted? They were really good shrimp.